Yeah, I had a good bit of that too. Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about. I saw a story on one of the business websites about a new CEO for quite a large government department and public service department. And I mean, it pays around packaged up about $700,000 a year, so it's a decent paying gig, and the sort of money, by the way, that you need if you're going to get ahead in places like Sydney or big cities at the moment. Um, so anyway, I had a look, and the blurb about the person who got the job was done in that flowery, sort of vague public relations type prose, and it was pretty obvious that it was a lightweight, and they were trying to talk it up into making it look like they put some heavyweight person in there. So it's a lady, a white and hetero lady who will turn 50 next year, and so I thought, okay, well let's have a little look then. Now her sort of personal manifesto, if I can use that term, is straight out of Globalization Central. It's just globalist talking points: diversity, inclusion, racial equity. We need more brown and black illiterate peasants from the third. It's just the globalist manifesto. That's all it is. I mean, Klaus Schwab could have written it, for Christ's sakes. So it's just Davos and so on. There's nothing in there that isn't Globalization Central. So clearly, this is not a person who's worked their way and worked their way into the position or earned it or been appointed on merit or anything like that. Now, increasingly, and I think pretty much everywhere now, every public service institution or any institution that's government funded or part government funded has now got, across the West, has now got a globalist, a pro-globalist in charge. If the person isn't pro-globalist, then they just over-promote them to some crazy level. Someone who couldn't earn $10,000 a year, and they'll pay them $1 million. They're so grateful for this bounty that they'll do whatever the fuck they're told, if that means selling out their fellow citizens and spouting absolute nonsense as propaganda. They'll do it. I mean, hey, for the money. And so anyway, this woman, again, who's white and hetero, she's a professional uni student, and that's always a sign, a globalist sort of sign, that really, whenever you see that, you're probably looking at an activist, globalist activist. So 16 years, 16 for fuck's sake, as a university student, and she's very active in student politics on quite a left-leaning university. It's notorious for producing activists there, and even though it's lefty on the surface, it's really been taken over by the globalists. So they use the leftiness as the foot soldiers to crush the white sort of heterosexual male West. They're using that, but in reality, these people are just useful fools. They'll be utterly and totally discarded and crushed themselves as soon as the globalists have got what they want, which is the completely unimpeded capacity to inflict the globalist project on the Western world. So, and the Western populace, of course. So 16 years of university, she's very active in student politics. She gets a few intern gigs for left-leaning politicians at state and federal level. She also is doing work with NGOs. So this is the conga line. This is the circuit. And all you got to do is look for people doing the circuit. So she's, 1 week she's working for activist NGOs to prevent evil white oppression of black people, because there's straight white male Hitlers are everywhere. Hitler, and so she's doing that at the NGOs. Then she's moving to do an internship in the office of some quite influential politicians, by the way. So clearly this is marking her out as someone who's been picked, a bit like Chrystia Freeland in Canada, I don't know, Diane Abbott and those sort of people in England, picking that they've been selected to be used as globalist propagandists and pushers of globalisation in some capacity. So, so then she, after 16 years, she walked straight into a job as a government advisor for black rights. I don't know, what does she know about this? Not much, it seems. If you look at the degrees she's got, they're all soft sociology type degrees, but she's been in the activist circles for pretty much the entire university life. So she's worked as interns again for some government heavyweights or political heavyweights. So that's sort of shown her how the political patronage system works, and the inner workings of how power and propaganda and deceit are used, and so on. So she's got some exposure to that. So she gets a government job. She's only there, well, not even a couple of years. It wouldn't be well paid, that job. $40,000, $50,000 a year, that sort of thing, unless she had some special arrangement that was possible. I mean, just to 16 years at university, just living day to day, your accommodation, your food, your expenses, your books, your fees. I mean, she would have easily chewed up $500,000 plus during that time without an income. So, I don't know who's paying for that. So she must come from money. Somebody was paying for that. That's a big debt to take on over that period of time. Very few could afford to do that. So after a couple of years as some sort of junior flunky, really, she suddenly is made deputy head of a government department. Not a big one, but nonetheless. So she's gone from like $40,000 a year just in one jump to $250,000 a year as a salary, plus lots of travel and benefits. And I mean, so again, the patronage machine at work. There's no way she's qualified for that. So it's pure politics. So she's there for a few years, gets bounced around as like a deputy head or acting chief of some other, but each time it's a bigger government department. And there is a fairly new government department that's been put together, but very generously funded. It's swimming in money. And she suddenly pops up as the chief executive of this. So she's made a few public announcements. There's been an interview, which I found online. We're talking a very unimpressive person here. She's just a political activist hack, goon stooge, that through the patronage machine. I mean, whether you call this an affirmative action hire or a patronage hire, is up for grabs, I guess. But would there have been thousands, tens of thousands of more qualified, better qualified, more suitable, more capable people? Sure, there were. But they wanted this one to go to a pro-globalist political propaganda stooge, and so they gave her this. But gee whiz, it's not bad. $700,000 a year, lots of first-class travel, lots of five-star hotels, that sort of thing. She's going to live relative to her abilities, she's going to live a life of absolute consummate luxury. Take away the the patronage machine looking after her, she'd be maybe $70,000-$80,000 a year at best. At some sort of job, admin job somewhere, that would be all. So anyway, that's sort of kind of a window into how they find, select, and put in place these globalist people. Why is the people? You probably wonder, how come that person popped up as head of the museum, and when all they want to do is get rid of white history? How is that? This is how they do it. This is how they find, groom, and appoint these people to these sort of roles. You've been with Tacitus today. You're a Pushback Channel, and thank you for listening.